Achana is innocent until proven guilty. One of the incredible facts of this, the greatest way to bring this out, is washing dishes. Washing dishes. So Friday night or Shabbos day, let's go Friday night. Friday night you have a large Suda, you have tons of dishes, you want to wash the dishes Friday night. Are you allowed to wash the dishes? So the question is, if you're going to use them Shabbos day, then it's perfectly fine. But the question is, you had 10 guests over, you used 100 dishes, and Shabbos day, what are you going to use? Just you and your wife, you can use 4 dishes. So you let her wash all the dishes. So there's going to be 2 potential aterim. If you have those aterim, it's mutter. If you don't, it's going to be forbidden. Again, everything in a world of Achana we spoke about is not actual malacha. It's all in your mindset. So what for you is mutter, me is asr, you is mutter. So 2 potential aterim. If you are washing them because your house is a wreck, you have a small kitchen, the dishes are piled up on the counter, and you properly can't handle it, your wife can't handle it. For example, the Mishnah Berurah's example is they used to have their bed in their dining room. Chavetz Chaim's house wasn't that large. Says Mishnah Berurah, to make your bed on Yom Tov or Shabbos, either one doesn't make a difference, is allowed. Why? Because Kavod Shabbos, your house is a mess. You can imagine if your bed was in your dining room and you didn't make your mess, it would be a pretty big mess. Says Mishnah Berurah, that's a heter. So potentially, if one's kitchen is a mess and they can't handle it, that would be a heter. But that's something one has to be honest about. For example, the litmus test some like to give is, if you knew a cleaning lady was coming right when Shabbos was over, would you still wash the dishes? No, I would wait for her. So that means you're not really doing it because you want your kitchen to be clean for today. You're doing it because you don't want to wash the dishes tonight. Whether that's 100% of an accurate litmus test, obviously everyone here could work out of their brain, but it brings out the idea, it has to be real. If for you, it really bothers you, that would be one heter. But that heter is a little bit more difficult. So the other heter is, let's say, you're going to use Shabbos day a few dishes. Says the Mishnah Berurah, if you're going to use a few, you can wash all of them. Why? Because every one that you're washing, you might use it. I'm going to wash 10 plates. I'm going to use 2 of them. So if I wash 1 plate and set the table, wash the second one, set the table, I'm done, finished, I can't wash anymore. But if I wash all 10, and I take all 10 and I put it in the cabinet, and then tomorrow morning I go and I take out 2, that means every dish I was washing, I potentially was going to use. So on any one dish, can we hit freeze and say, you're preparing for the weekday? No. Because every dish that you're preparing might be used on Shabbos. Says the Mishnah Berurah, that would be allowed. But again, you have to use your brain. That might work with plates, that might work with cups, that might not work with bowls. Because you might not be using any bowls Shabbos day. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Those will be your 2 aterim potentially to wash your dishes on Shabbos for afterwards. And finally, the last heter, which we mentioned last night after the shir, is if something is done as a matter of fact. For example, let's say you always drink out of a glass cup, and you take a drink, you rinse out the cup, and you leave it next to the sink. Let's say that's what you do. Are you allowed to now rinse out the cup after you take a drink? Well, maybe you should say, wait, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm leaving the house and I might not use it. But if every time what you're doing is just the completion of the act, that's another heter. For example, when you finish mincha, you take your sitter, you put it away. Why let it put away your sitter? You're preparing for Ma'ariv. The answer is, because I'm not doing a new action. It's the end of the act that was done. Now this heter, of course, is not going to be that user-friendly, but it's one of those things to keep in your back of your brain. And the last detail I'd like just to mention is there the rules of achana by a guy, if you have a cleaning lady? And the answer is lechatchila yes, which means you can't tell a guy, oh, I want you to do this to clean up for tomorrow. There is the Magen Avram that says, b'makom seirech, there's room to be mekel. I want to just leave it at that, which sort of means, I don't know if the cleaning lady is on her own doing something that you happen to know you're only going to benefit from it tomorrow, but it could be you benefit from it today, as we're realizing you'd have multiple aterim. So again, just a quick review is, the world of achana has nothing to do with malacha, it's anything you're doing for tomorrow. What determines for tomorrow? If it's for tomorrow. If it might be for today, that's allowed. Applications of might be for today is, we spoke yesterday about taking the food out of the freezer early in the day. You might use it, you might eat it, the kids might eat it, etc. You might get hungry. Number 2 is washing dishes, washing all to use some. And finally, if it is a mess, there's a potential makom to be mekel. And with a guy, there is some heter floating out there, which is not lechatchila, and one should not say, oh, it's with a guy, so the guy can do whatever I want. That's a separate share for Amir Lakum, and a good night.